today I'm working with Perfect Cast, which is a plaster type of material that you can use in silicone molds to make a stronger, really nice decoration. And so I've already mixed some according to the directions on the package, and it's all set to pour now. And I'm using these two molds. One is going to be a heart mold with a stand, and the other one is a like a frame mold, if you will, with a stand. And so I'm going to pour those now. Really easy to work with. Pour it in. And the great thing about this is it sets really quickly. So you can then pop it out of the molds. And then what happens is you let it dry for 24 hours. It's already hard. You can use it before the 24 hours, I've found, and I haven't had any issues, but the packaging does say 24 hours. So, but within an hour, you'll be able to pop it out of the silicone mold, no problem. And it is, you know, it's a little thicker, so you want to make sure you move it around to be able to fill in and get all the space in the mold and to get an even amount across your project. Sometimes you need to go back and just even up a side. And last but not least, this part, which is going to be the base for this particular piece. And the good news is it looks like I mixed just the right amount that I needed for both of these projects, which doesn't always happen. So that's a good thing, because I don't want to waste something like this. And as you look down at, you might get some air bubbles. Just fidget with it a bit and it will get those air bubbles to move out. You can also have a toothpick on hand, and if you get an air bubble, you can always pop it that way too. That's worked for me. But those truly are perfect pours. That's awesome. That worked out really well. So more to come. Okay, so it's now dry, and I wanted to show you just how easy it is to unmold this. You know, being silicone, this is flexible, and you just pop it right out. As you can see, that heart is really, really nice. I'm going to be adding color to it, so any kind of variation like that doesn't matter to me. If you didn't like that, you could always use this side, which is like, you know, perfect as well. This side has like kind of a smoother shade and like shine to it because of being down against the mold. But as you can see, it just unmolds so easily. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a perfect fit for that to rest. So that's really nice. Now over here for this other one, we'll go ahead and unmold. This is going to be thinner, so much easier. Again, I'm putting something on the front there, so those spots don't matter to me. I think most of the time you would probably mix in some pigments or plan on putting something over it anyways, like painting it. So that's not going to matter. And then with this one, you're just going to fit that right in there. Actually, let me try this side. There we go. It fits right in there just like that. So those are perfect. The other thing I did is I was making some foam frames to use in cards, and I had some leftover plaster. So I put it into the frame mold, and I wanted to show you this just to show you that like these aren't detailed, so it doesn't matter. But when the silicone molds are detailed, look at the great detail that comes out on these frames. Of course, the tough thing is you can't, like, that's going to easily break away. You can just use a little X-Acto knife and press, and that will come right down. And so, you know, of course, you can't put these plaster frames onto cards, But you could certainly use them in scrapbooking or use them in making ornaments or any other kind of project that, you wouldn't be putting through the mail. Now that the heart and the base are dry, I'm going to put a coat of a clear primer from Folk Art onto the heart and onto the base, which will just help any kind of, whether I decide to use gilding wax or paint, or anything like that. It will just help it adhere to it better, having this clear primer on there. So I have paper that I'm going to adhere onto the front of the heart, and then I'll have an image that will go into the center. For around the sides and the back, I'm using rose gold Sizzix luster wax. I like the look it gives it. It's not a real pinky rose gold, which I like. And so that is the effect that I'm going for there. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish getting a coat around the sides. And then what you normally do with the luster wax is you use a cloth and you just wipe around it. And what that does is it helps just kind of shine it up and brighten it a bit and take any excess off that you might have. And I'm not going to worry too much about the front because, like I said, I am going to put paper over the front. So if any gets there, I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to finish with this, and then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is what the back of the heart and the sides look like once you have the luster wax on there. It's really pretty. Looks really nice. And so now we're going to put some paper on the front. We're going to adhere that with just some Mod Podge and double-sided tape. Then we'll cut the, I'm going to stick it to the paper and then cut around so I get a nice good fit around the edges and everything. I'll show you how I do that. So I'm just going to take a tape runner, and I know what general area I'm going to want that to be in. And so I'm just going to run some tape. And between the tape and the Mod Podge, that will give it a really good amount of coverage for getting it to stick. And what I like about the Mod Podge is it allows for a little wiggle room once you're adhering it. And then of course it will go ahead and work with the double-sided tape to form a really good bond. So just get a pretty good coat of the Mod Podge onto this. Make sure that you're covering all around. And once you have that, you can go ahead and position it down on your paper. And I'm just going to use where I put the tape as a guide. That looks good. Like I said, it gives you a little wiggle room before that really takes effect. I'm just going to take a paper towel. I'm going to take a stamping tool and just use that to help press down to make sure that it gets adhered. Use my hand a couple of times. That should be good. I'm going to flip it, I'm going to cut around, and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so I put the paper on the front. The paper is from the Gecko Gals, and it's part of the Parisian Princess paper set. Really pretty papers in there. I happen to really like this one, and it really goes with the love and Valentine theme quite well. And I thought it would also act as a nice backdrop for the picture that I'm going to put into the center of the heart, which comes from the Gecko Gals as well. And it's part of the Lovey Doveys set of prints by Gecko Gals. And I'm going to use this one because I can cut it out like a heart and then put it right in the center. And so I'm going to fussy cut that out now, and then I will go ahead and get it adhered to the center of the heart. So I cut the image out. Anytime I fussy cut an image like this, when it's vintage and there could be a little white there, what I like to do is just take a light tannish. This happens to be a sand white colored alcohol marker. Run it around the edge. You could also use ink if you have a light tan ink. Another one that would work really well on this is the Vintage Photo Distress ink from Tim Holtz and Ranger. I'm not looking to give it a whole lot of grunge along the edge, but just a little bit, just to help age it a bit, but also to blend in, any white that could be showing. I just think it's a nice way to, it's a little detail that could be overlooked that if you do it, it's, no one would even be able to know that there was any white there. So there, we have that. And so that is going to go right into the center there. And so what I'm going to do for that is similar to when we did the paper. I'm first going to run some double-sided adhesive tape along the back of the image. I'm then going to take some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to throw that on to the back as well. I like to do both, again, as I had said before, just to ensure a really good tight adhesion to the base that you're putting it onto. They work well together like that. And you can put it wherever you would like it. I'm going to kind of do like a center because I think that's what will look best, but you can do whatever you'd like. I do really think that that looks quite nice like that. Really, really nice. And so now that that image is on, what I'm going to do is just put some Mod Podge over the top just to help seal it. And the heart will be done. Okay, now it's time for the base. And what I'm going to do for the base is just use some gold metallic acrylic paint. And I'm just going to, it's probably going to take a couple of coats. Remember that we did put that primer on. That should help get it to adhere sooner, but still, it will probably take a couple of coats. So, just go ahead and paint it on, let it dry, paint on another coat, let it dry, and just check in between. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll come back. Okay, so now I have the base done, and as you can see, it's gold, and our heart is done. And so the last thing, you can do this, or it's two pieces. You may choose not to do this, but I am going to just put some glue on the outside of that bottom part of the heart to glue those together, just to give it some stability. I personally want to do that. You don't have to. So I'm just going to put some glue down here, just so that if it were to, get knocked over, it may not fall and come apart as easily as if they were two separate pieces, in which case you could, the heart could fall separate from the base. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that kind of in the center of the base. going to let that dry. And once that's dry, I will hold it up and show you. Okay, so the glue is dry and the heart is attached to the base. This turned out to be such a pretty vintage style project. Make a really nice Valentine's Day gift, anniversary gift, gift for any occasion, really. Just a nice, really nice piece of decor overall. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this. This will be one of my design team projects for Gecko Gals design team for the month of January. And come check out our blog, and you can see all of the fabulous projects from the other design team members, as well as this one and some others that I've created. Until next time, be well.